Call the community services meeting to order at 2:25 p.m. Victoria, could you do the invocation?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for safe travel for all of those that have come, and we wish for safe travel on the way home. I ask that you bless us all with divine thought, word, and action, and bless this meeting and all those in it. Amen.
Shelley?
Nick White,
Here.
Harley Buzzard, Jack Baker.
Here.
Joe Bird.
On him.
Julia Coates.
Here.
Jody Fisherhawk.
Here.
Janelle Fulbright. Tom Garvin. Frank Marcus.
Present.
Anna Boyd Jordan.
Present.
Lee Keener.
On me.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Denise Taylor. David Thornton. Victoria Vesquez. David Walkinston.
On it.
Jared Alphonse. Joe Walkinston.
Thank you. Entertain a motion for approval.
Make a motion to be approved. Second.
Move and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion approved. Reports, Marcia Lamb.
I don't have anything specific to report today, except that we are gearing up for our clothing voucher program. We'll be starting that process pretty quick. I know everybody has been concerned about the cost of propane and how it's affecting our tribal members, but we got our final appropriation for LIHEAP, which should take care of that as long as we're not inundated. But along with that, DHS has opened up their crisis program, and that will greatly relieve some of our problems. But so far, I believe we're going to be okay on that. That's about all I have, really. Do you have any other questions?
Chief Bird.
Marcia, is there a way where, with the price of propane, most of the time in years past, you buy it in the summer where the gallon is not so expensive. Can you buy that in bulk ahead of time?
Say that again.
Can you buy the propane ahead of time? Because, the Cherokee Nation, with their buying power, you would think.
A long time ago, the Choctaw Nation actually did that. And we looked into it. I can certainly look into that again because they somehow figured out a way to buy that at a lower rate, and then they had it reserved. But we can certainly look into that again.
And you would think one of these vendors would work with us because it's competition as well. I mean, we're not
Yeah.
just an individual out there. We should
Yeah.
have some pretty good buying power. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Lee?
Mr. Chair, on the propane issue, does the citizen think anything differently with DHS, or how's that going to work?
Well, they can't get it from both of us,
Right.
And they just opened it, so I don't know if we'll have a meeting with them or not. Those that are non-Indian that happen to call, we refer them over and have contact numbers for them. As long as there is a tribal member in the household, then we can serve them.
And thus far, you think we'll be okay?
I really do, yes. With this last appropriation and then the fact that they opened it up. If they hadn't, we might have been affected because all those people would have, that normally don't get it from us, even though their propane companies would have come here. But I think we're going to be fine. Hopefully the weather will turn out better.
I hope so, too. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, talk about the propane. Had a friend that needed propane, was down to 20% on the thing. And she ordered propane. When the driver got there, the company got there, they put 100 gallons in her tank. Cost her $4 a gallon. She paid $400 propane. She wanted more, but that company wouldn't give her any more than 100 gallons.
That's what they were doing right there a couple of weeks ago. They were, usually when we would call, the limit that we could buy someone was 100 gallons, you know, a minimum. Now they've put that on the upside, and that's all they'll give them now.
So,
Yeah, and your area was the highest
yeah.
ones that we found. But I think it's gone down a little bit now.
Thank you.
Kara?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So have we seen an uptake or uptick in elders in need, the $200? Because the report said 0 served, but I know there's a lag. So have we seen additional people that apply for that?
We
I read
have,
the report correctly.
probably the next report, you'll see where we have served, I think we just sent out notices to around 800 people that they will be getting this first payment. We do 2 a year, and so the first payment will be going out. And we've started that process last week.
So they automatically get it, or do they have to request it?
If they've automatically got it and they're under LIHEAP, we already have the information, and that saves an elder to come back in. And we always ask them if there's been a change, you know, since the last time they come in. Now, if they've never received it, if someone was 59 last year and they turned 60, then yes, they have to make a whole new application.
Will you be sending out those qualifications again as another news release to let people know? I've had an uptick in also questions about it,
You can.
or at least send it to the council.
Okay.
And then the other question is, Rogers County, Tulsa County Area Elder Advocate, do we have one hired, and who is it?
We are interviewing. We're on our 4th or 5th interviewing process.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Marcia. Good report. Community Services, Ron Qualls.
Good afternoon, everyone. Last week, we had a conference call meeting with the Oklahoma City HUD office and the Denver HUD office. Denver HUD office is the office that runs the formula and distributes the HOSTA block grant funds. The meeting was on the implementation agreement for the Delawares. The final agreement with HUD was that they would fund the Delaware's IHP for 2014. That was very pleasing to us because we assumed it would be 2015, but they agreed that it would be 2014. The only negative thing about the meeting was the funding that we hold on behalf of the Delaware. We wanted to be able to transfer that money into the Delaware's 2014, what's called a LOX system. That's a HUD terminology. Line of Credit Control System is the acronym. But so we would be out of the Delaware business. But the HUD attorney in Denver disagreed with us and said that they cannot move money that we hold on behalf of the Delawares, older money, into the lock system. So our compliance people will be responsible for doing monitoring on the Delawares until the funding that we currently hold for them is transferred or expended by the Delawares. That's approximately $800,000, just a little over $800,000. That the revised agreement has been transferred to the council, and that, when you look at the revised agreement, the changes are in dates. The changes are going from 2015 to 2014, and when you look through there, all the changes are associated with those dates, so that funding for 2014 can be transferred down to the Delawares by the HUD office. Be happy to discuss this agreement in more detail if anyone has questions. Elizabeth Odell is here to also discuss it.
I believe Chief Byrd has a question.
Yes, Ron, on this, that was passed by this governing body to move those funds to the Delawares, is that through our self-governance compact we were allowed to do that now? Are they saying we can't do this for right now, but in the future we can for this budget year?
It's unfortunate that the HOSDA funding is not in the self-governance compact. It's on its own. They're saying that for 2014, which funding has not been allocated yet for 2014. Wish it had, but it hasn't. They're saying that HUD will fund the Delawares for the 2014 allocation. What they're also saying is the 800,000 plus funding that we have for the Delawares cannot be transferred into the Delaware's lock system because, according to the HUD attorney, because it's old funds allocated to us on behalf of the Delawares, and we must fulfill that agreement.
We still administer those funds back to the Delaware. And I know they're probably can't be real happy about it, but they understand.
They understand it. Yes, they was on the conference call with us.
Okay.
They understand that they'll still be a subrecipient for a couple more years until that, and it's up to them. The faster they spend that money, the quicker that it'll go out to them. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Janice, did you?
I think you just answered my question. My first question was, how long do you think it will be to expend the funds that we have to hold for them?
yeah, that's it.
Alluded to a couple of years, but.
It's totally up to them.
And the second one was, this is 2014 going forward. We don't have to come back every year and say, will you, okay. Thank you.
If we hold their money, the money we tried to give to them, do we get to keep the interest?
It's their interest. It would need to be allocated to them.
And there's no time constraint on their use of those funds?
If the funds were newer, they would be a 5-year requirement, but the older funds, there is no requirement. It's to their advantage to do something and tell us they need the funds so we can lock it down to them or transfer it to them. And I think they will. I think they will use the funds. We're going to suggest to them, do not use the new funds first, because see, funds in 2 months or 3 months, whenever funding hits our lock systems, they should not spend that. They should spend this old money, and that's what we're going to try to get them to do.
Ron, if I could, there are some changes now to this, and the Delaware tribe, I think, council voted on this, we voted on it in committee. If I could ask Elizabeth or perhaps Speaker, should we run this back through committee again?
As far as the Delaware, they are going to go back and approve it. Because this hasn't gone completely through tribal council, it had through theirs, so they plan to this week have a special session and approve it. As to this one, I'll defer to Speaker.
I looked at the wording that was sent to us, and it appears that when we talk about all the money we were talking about, but it's the same method for 14 and 15. So, and I would suggest that we go ahead and, with that being the only change, we're just holding back some. We just can't get rid of all of it. That we go ahead and look at it tonight.
Look at it, and do we have to amend it tonight?
We can come in with a amended copy and substitute that for the copy that we passed out of committee.
And as far as the money we keep now, are we still on the hook for its proper use and allocation and all the things we were trying to get rid of?
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of choice in that one because they felt like it was already appropriated to us, and so they couldn't go back and reallocate it to someone else. Because they've already gone through all the process, but because 2014 has not in fact come to us yet, they could go ahead, even though that IHP was already submitted with their money included in ours, they can go back because the money hasn't come to us yet. But they couldn't, I mean, they said we could submit it that way, but they wouldn't be able to fulfill it, so then we wouldn't have any language in there to satisfy us to that other money. And so they felt like it was necessary to go ahead.
I would ask that we have her get with our lawyer and get that one page already.
If we could have an opinion from someone too.
We've actually done substitutions before. I mean, that's not
I know, but
a,
this includes legislation, a memorandum, and we're back on the hook again.
I would say, if, God forbid, but the Delawares just absolutely positively ignore regulatory statute, mess this up as bad as they can, I don't think that's going to happen. But if they do, we would have some recourse, the same as HUD has. HUD has recourse. If HUD goes and visits us and we are out of compliance, that HUD can do two things. They can make us pay funds back from non-federal funds, or they can withhold future funds. I would say that's more likely what would happen, instead of us coughing money up out of our coffers.
Here's what I'm gonna do. It actually went through Rules Committee. I wanna ask Chief Byrd if he's good with it. If he is, I am.
I'm okay if it's the wishes of the committee.
actually, it does not change the resolution in any way. It changes the agreement. And the resolution's what, basically
Right,
what
the
we're passing
resolution's not
tonight.
changed.
We could have, Mr. Henry
Yes, that would be
be
good.
there tonight.
That would be good.
We'll have somebody get a hold of him and see if he will come tonight for that specific question.
Anything else on that? Anything else on that, Elizabeth? Okay,
I don't know.
thank you.
A couple of more things. This is just general information. Last year, this is on rehab. Last year, the rehab department rehabbed 609 homes for families. And because of weather and maybe some other factors, I don't know, but for the past 4 months and 1 week in February, we have processed, are in processing, or processing 481 approved applications for services. And so, just to let you know, whether it's the weather, whether it's other factors, not 100% sure. I know weather has had a lot to do with it because we've had just a multitude of busted pipes and other things with heating and electrical situations, and so it's just 481 that we'll process in the next couple of months is almost as much as we've done in a whole year. So just to let you know, a lot of work is going on. I hope it slows down because we have obligated or spent 42.9% of our rehab budget in just a little over 4 months. So we need for those numbers to slow down, and hopefully they will. One other issue to talk about or to bring you up to date on, the youth program. I was hoping it would be online last week. It's not. They are working on it today. And so hopefully by the end of this week or maybe before, individuals will be able to go to the Cherokee Nation website and download an application. And there's information there that will give them information about what they need to bring and fill and copy and send to us. We'll also send an email to anyone who requests it. We'll send it to them. And so I think that's something that some of the council wanted, and maybe some didn't. I don't know. But it's certainly going to make the application much easier to find and fill out and send back to us. So that's all I have, unless there's some questions.
Councilor Coates?
Yeah, I had a question about the 481 applications for rehabs in the last 4 months. Did you have a way to go back and compare to the same 4-month winter period of time in past years to see if that's actually normal, or is it
Again,
an increase?
it's a huge increase.
It is a huge increase, even for that 4 months, you know that it is.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Walkenstick?
Hey, Ron, how many of the, you said 42% of your budget's already, how much of that is tied up in salaries and inspectors and so forth? I'm just curious, it sounds like we're gonna fall short on getting, if we're 2/3 of the way through the year from last year, and we're not even to a quarter of it. We're over budgeted by probably 20% or something. So you guys are gonna be coming back asking for more money.
Well, this is federal funds, so I don't know that there's any additional federal funds, but we sure asked for some. But anyway, the salaries and wages, salaries and fringe is $1.4 million. I don't know what percent that is. I don't have.
What's the total budget?
Total budget is $8,388,000.
It's about 8%, 10%. All right, thank you.
Councilor Watts?
Thank you. Thank you, Ron, for being responsive. I don't know that it's so much even me as a councilperson, but that's what the constituents expected. And it was reflective, I think, in the numbers because it was heavily loaded in Tahlequah where they had easy access to the application. But in our northern areas, there were less applicants, and if they had to drive to Tahlequah, I'm sure that's why. So hopefully that'll help you out and meet goals better. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilor Keener?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We discussed an incident at a public meeting,
Yes.
and I did not all of us.
I have talked to the individual.
Does that have to do with the employee?
Yes, it does.
Let's take that at another time or location or go into executive session, I believe. Councilman Keener, if you would, please.
We can talk afterward.
All right. Okay.
Any other questions, Lee?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Speaker?
Yes, Ron, was that 1.4 million in salaries, was that out of the 3.6 million that we used, or was that for the whole 8 million budget?
No, that's been used.
Okay, so we've used 1.4 million of the 3.6 million that's went out for the 42 or 43% of people we've helped this year. 1.4 of that was salaries.
Yep. That's round numbers, but yes.
And so we still have 4.4 million for the year to serve the rest of the year. 3.6 plus 4.4 would be 8 million. We probably have a little bit more than that.
Yeah, we have almost 4 million eight left.
Okay. And so some of that'll be salaries too, right?
Yes.
I guess approximately about the same.
Yep.
Well, actually, it'll be,
We're talking just a little over 4 months. I don't know if there's not been a payroll this month, so. Just have to figure it out by payroll and see how much it is per month.
it's probably gonna be another 2.6 million, because I think you had a $4 million payroll with fringes, salary and fringes, I think, come up to 4 million, are pretty close there too. And you sent me those figures, I believe.
Okay.
That's what I'm going off of, is the figures that you sent me. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Ron. Housing with Gary Cooper.
Good afternoon. I would like to just let you know that last month we took more college housing applications. The deadline was originally in the middle of the month, but because of the weather, everything else, any applications that we received up through the end of the month, we gladly accepted and began processing, and hopefully next month we'll have some numbers for you on how many of those that we did receive. Other than that, that's probably all I got. Probably I might want to take just a moment just to mention to you and give you an update if y'all want one on HOSTA and reauthorization and that whole aspect. I don't know that we've gotten one for a while. HOSTA reauthorization, a bill has passed out of Senate and Indian Affairs, so it is in banking right now. It's in the 60-day window that banking has to either do whatever they want to do, or it'll go to Senate for a vote. We are still waiting, and we have not seen a bill yet out of the House side. So there has been some talk, some speculation, some even congressman who is authoring the bill has even told us, a lot about what is going to be in his version of the reauthorization bill, but we have not seen a draft copy. We have not seen draft language on that. And so there hasn't been any movement over on the House side yet. They keep telling us that it should be just any time, but I did just want to give you an update on that. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you all have.
Councilor Watts?
Thank you. I just want to confirm I'm reading the report correctly. There's 67 homes that have been received by families.
That have been received by families.
According to your report, is 67.
And that would be effective, that would be as of the end of December. Remember, this report runs
That's-
a full month behind. And that doesn't include new homes completed as replacement homes through community services. That also uses our house plan.
Okay, and if you presented a historical record of how many replacement homes we've done over like the past 10 years?
I can check with Ron. I don't know if he has one, because that actually is over in community services. This past year, they started using the house plan that we're using for the new houses. And so they'll see. But no, I wouldn't have the those are historical numbers.
And those wouldn't be counted traditionally in the housing numbers, those would be counted in the rehab or community service numbers.
No, or not, technically no, because they are new construction houses. They're not an actual rehab, because they are.
So you do that work, or Ron does that work?
Ron does the work.
Ron does the work, and the money's out of his department? Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Roads and Transportation, Michael Lynn.
Good afternoon. I believe you have a copy of our report for the month of January. I did want to mention a couple of projects we've got coming up. Currently, we have a bridge project out to bid right now, being advertised. It's actually 4 bridge projects, but we're calling it one project. It's in Delaware County. It's on the road coming out of between Jay and Kenwood. There's 4 bridges on that. We began advertising that around February 3rd. We'll hold a pre-bid meeting this week on the 13th and hold a bid opening on March 4th for that project. We also have coming up, we're expecting it to start advertising around the 1st of March. That's Wycliffe Bridge in Mays County coming up on that as well. And lastly, I want to mention something that's been brought to the forefront here recently is the intersection out here at Sequoia High School. There's a meeting on that this week, tomorrow night, I believe. It's a stakeholders meeting that Sequoia High School is holding, a parent-type meeting. And I've been invited to go to that to talk about this project. Right now, the goal is to have that project out to bid, or awarded for construction by May, and so that we can start the construction during the summertime, so that to be less inconvenience for the school and the students at the school. So there will be some little bit of time. We're sure that the intersection will have to be closed down. We want to try to minimize that impact as much as possible, so we're trying to do it during the summer and it's a little bit less congestion up through there. So those are the 3 items that I wanted to mention, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Michael, I want to ask you about some of the projects in District 4,
Okay.
starting with Northeast Fort Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of give us an update.
Northeast Fort Gibson, we are getting appraisals on right now. We've got an appraiser on staff, contract I should say, and he's going and getting appraisals on that. Once the appraisals have been completed, then we will begin the acquisition process.
Next on Ross Road, off 64
We are finalizing what we call the pavement design on that project, and the engineer is about to start doing some what we call geotechnical drilling out there on that project to find out what kind of soils and stuff we have underneath the pavement, existing pavement, and how it can be stabilized, best stabilized for the new project. It's still in design. A short answer, still in design, but we're working on it. Don't expect it to be that far out. We really don't. We're hoping to get it out by this summer.
Last Texana Road, McIntosh Street.
That's just in the very beginning stages of design. It is going to be a little ways out, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions?
Very good. Thank you.
Anna? Afternoon.
I just had a few things that I wanted to go over before you start with the report. We did participate in Credit Union Report Saturday at NSU Library, and there was about 35 people that attended. It's really a great idea. We offer that for our self-sufficiency clients anyway, to pull their credit report and go over it with them and talk to them about how they can improve their credit score. But it still was a good event. We've also started the income tax preparation, and we had 45 people participate on the first day. We've sent the schedule out, and this is the first year we're trying a walk-in clinic, and we're doing it here in Tahlequah in the I believe it's in the OCO room, and in all the other areas we're still just taking appointments, so we're kind of testing it to see how it works in this area with walk-ins. We're going to hold our next Financial Peace University, which is kind of paying off your bills and budgeting your money, and it'll be in April, starting April 22nd through June 24th at Hastings. And the last thing we didn't send our MAP newsletter out to all the employees this month, and so I wanted to make sure you guys all got a copy of it. I know you've anxiously awaited every month. So other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about the report.
Any questions? Good report.
All right, thank you.
Okay, under old business, none pending. New business under number 1. Curtis, could you take that one for us?
This is a resolution authorizing an application to the Federal Highway Administration for Travel Transportation Program Bridge Fund with the Saline Creek Bridge number 67 in Delaware County, Oklahoma. I would move for its approval.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second, and also I've been told that this needs to go over tonight if it passes. So we'll
Full
include.
council.
Thank you, sir. And first, let's see. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Would anybody else like to be a sponsor on that legislation? And to go to full council tonight. Thank you. And new business item number 2, David Walkenstick. Could you?
This is a resolution authorizing the BIA to revise and update the Cherokee Nation's inventory of travel transportation facilities. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Motion and second. And does this have to go tonight also, Michael? Yeah.
Yes, sir. If possible, that'd be great. Thank you.
Motion and second, then if passed, to go to full council tonight. Any discussion? Excuse me. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'd like to be added as sponsor as well.
Speaker and Jody and Kara and Chief Don Garvin, Janice Taylor. Motion been made and seconded, and all in favor say aye. All opposed, motion passes. And number 3, Kara, I believe that's yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for approval for the resolution recognizing Cherokee Nation citizen Barbara Williams.
Second.
What district is she in? I mean,
She's in Cherokee County.
yeah, what district?
That I don't know on.
Just out of curiosity.
But I was gonna ask if we take it to full council tonight, because Barbara's been to our community, and really, we kind of
Very
all
deserving.
share her.
Yeah.
And I know the kids know her as the sex lady, so, and she's comfortable with that. She takes pride in that. So, I know I purchased, something for her tonight out of my funds, but would ask the hall, the council, stand for a picture when we acknowledge her. So with that, I would ask 2 things. Number 1, if there's any additional sponsors, I would welcome those. It was just, there was an email sent out, I believe, to everyone, and I guess I just was the one that picked it up. And then, there were other people on it, so I don't remember, I'd have to look it up, but.
Who's the sex lady? Did you?
Do I need to point of order you, Joe? Okay, so,
I don't
Then-
really,
You have to go.
yeah. And so, I'd ask for more sponsors, and I'd ask the body consider taking it to full council and amending the agenda tonight, if at all possible.
I want to be on it.
Good, thank you.
she's good. She's in my district,
Does everybody? Yeah. I think we're all set. And so the motion and second is to vote on it, and if passed, to send it through council tonight. Is that correct?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, that would be the motion.
And all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Any announcements? Announcements, okay. Motion?
motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Do you need 10 minutes?
Need about 10 minutes.